All right. Wait, so we're live? Okay, cool.
Yep.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the start of the Hackathon talk. So we have three of us here. Me, Raggy, and Nguyen are all going to present 20-minute or so lightning talks about our hackathon projects to maybe give you all some inspiration for your hackathon ideas, which are coming up next weekend. So make sure you put that in your calendars if you haven't already. My name's Matt, or Matthew. I'm at MCL on Discord, and yeah, this is Yeetbeat, a reprise. This little logo in the bottom right is the logo for Yeetbeat that we kind of mocked up in the 3 days. Yes, that is the bee emoji, and that was funny in 2019. I'm going to take you on a journey through the 2019 hackathon from our perspective, the UQCS Hackathon, I should say. But first we need to time travel back to 2019 because it's been a while since then. It must have all been like a blur the past 2 years. So I went and did a bit of Google searching for what was popular in 2019. Top 10 songs, apparently these were the top 5. Old Town Road was big, and a few others, and then also Sicko Mode was up there. And then the top 10 what is searches of Google were like, what is Area 51? What is a VSCO girl? What is a boomer? I don't know. What is Disney Plus? I have no idea. And what is Brexit as well. So just, yeah, hopefully that set the scene a little bit for what 2019 was all about. That was really not relevant to this talk, but I thought it was funny. So we'll go day by day through the hackathon and my experience. So we start any hackathon, the first thing you do is you form a team. You might be the only person at the hackathon, that you might not have any friends or people you know at the hackathon, or you might have a bunch of people who you went and bought tickets with and you want to do a team together. That's fine. We had 9 people in our team. A few of us, we all knew each other from high school. Some of us knew us from a bit of first semester classes and things like that. But yeah, this was our team. Tip number 1, so I'm going to be putting tips throughout this talk. Keep your team small. Git with 9 people is kind of hard. Keeping track of 9 people's code repos, bit difficult. But yeah, that's my first tip. The second thing that you're going to want to do after you formed a team is to try to come up with some cool idea that will, win all the judges over. It's amazing, implementation and beautiful user interface. But really you want to think about the big picture now, right? So our idea was we made a game that takes a YouTube or Spotify playlist and lets you and your friends guess the song from a short snippet. So that's what the term Yeetbeat comes from. Once again, it was 2019, so Yeet was funny. So our second tip, spend time working out an idea and plan a vague implementation before diving into the code, as tempting as it may be. So kind of whiteboards are your best friend here. So you've probably heard about whiteboarding, that kind of thing. Just like in any sort of I don't know, if you have like a systems design interview or something when you're looking for a job, and they ask you draw something on a whiteboard like a system, you want to basically be doing that for your hackathon project, because you only have 48 hours, you don't have time to re-architect the entire system, so good idea to get started. This was our little digital whiteboard. It's just a README file, and we put a bunch of ideas here. I don't know if you can read many of the ideas on here, but we had some pretty funny ones that didn't eventuate, like having a hard mode that increases the pitch of a song as it goes on when you're guessing it, and adds vocoders and nightcore and unnecessary breakbeat and hard bass. Obviously none of those things are implemented, but that's the beauty of hackathons, you have this ambition that all goes away after 48 hours. Just kidding. And also we had an anime mode or something, I don't know. Tip 2.5, do a lot of doodling on the whiteboards while you're at it. In the hackathon room you have basically free reign over all the whiteboards, so you can draw all this beautiful stuff. I'm pretty sure Raggy drew that lo-fi hip-hop beats to study to, the drawing at the bottom right. And yeah, a few other cool things. And then finally, the end of day 1, get some sleep. Make sure you are well rested and ready to go for day 2, which I believe is the most important day of the hackathon, because that's the majority of the day. You don't have other things that disturb you, like presentations and meeting people, all that. You can focus on the code. So this is where you do most of the programming, right? And this is about the time, if you haven't decided already what tech stack you want to use, This would be a good time to do it now. So decide your stack before starting the day, not at the end of the day. And yeah, really just make sure you've got something that people are kind of comfortable with. Or maybe if you want to try something new, then this is by all means go for it, but make sure you kind of have an idea of what you want to do, right? So what stack did we use in our project for Yeetbeat? Kind of this basic stack. So we did Bootstrap, HTML, CSS, JavaScript. We didn't use React or anything like that. React is a very popular and, in my opinion, very cool option for these sorts of hackathon projects. But we kind of use Heroku, serve all of our server application, and Node.js was kind of the framework underlying the server and all that. Tip number 4, don't overcomplicate the stack unless that's the point of the project. So if you're going to write some like amazing, impressive project where you've done some game in like a really obscure, difficult language or something, then by all means go for something overcomplicated. But if you really just want to get like a nice app or like you have some idea in mind, just pick a simple stack. You don't want to spend half of your 48 hours learning some new framework because someone told you to. Footnote, the Cloak meme. What is Cloak? Cloak is a network layer for HTML5 games using Node.js. Brilliant idea. We kind of agreed on it as a group, so I can't put any blame on any one specific person, which I won't do, of course, because I'm nice. But we decided to use this library. It had, well, you'll see later on, it had a bit of a documentation and usability issue because only 6 people in the past week had downloaded the package, to give you an idea of its popularity. This was a bit of a comment from Kenton on the day after the hackathon. Here's some quotes. Because of Cloak, the client just blindly changes views whenever the server tells it to. Switches views immediately when button clicked without ensuring room exists, username valid, etc. This is indirectly caused by Cloak. Because of Cloak, pings to the server which should have responses which are implemented with a * response Cloak message event. Waiting for players to load the song is very dodgy, especially if players disconnect or have poor internet connection. Cloak was meant to handle disconnects, and they said at the end, can we find something like Cloak, but it works? So my 5th tip, pick something that works. My 5th and a half, that's the tongue twister, tip, you have 48 hours. Sleep should take about 12 to 16 of those hours, given it's a 3-day weekend, 2 nights. Don't waste hours debugging when you don't need to. So you want to be picking something that you know is at least kind of bug-proof. You don't want to be looking for bugs in their implementation when you're writing. You want to be, using a piece of software and assuming it works. So without further ado, here's Matt's guide to what hackathon stack to use in 2021 if I'm a beginner. Basically, these things, use React, I think, is a great starting point. If you use Create React App, it's very straightforward. Takes seconds to install the gigabytes of Node packages that you need. Semantic UI, Material, your favorite component library. GitHub Pages is great for static site hosting. Heroku, Express Node.js are great if you want some sort of server-based solution, and Firebase is great if you want something serverless. But really, it's entirely up to you what stack you choose. But this is just my beginner's recommendation if you want to just make an app or like a website or something. And then the final part of day 2, keep programming. Most of the next 12 hours will be a blur. And that's good because that's what hackathons are all about. Tip number 6, don't skip lunch, lol. Stay hydrated, enjoy the free food and drink and breakfast and snacks and all that kind of jazz. And a few other notes while we're on the topic of programming. User interface, it's really important. Judges care, I think, mostly about user interface above all. They want a product that you can say is cool. You wouldn't be using Facebook if it was in plain text. You want something to be, nice looking. Tip number 7, this isn't really great software engineering practice, but an app looking good for hackathon is probably more important than bug-free functionality, especially for demos. And as much as you may think it is your life's work after Sunday, it's highly unlikely you will touch your app after 8 p.m. on Sunday. So just keep that in mind. Your aim is to make a project that's as good as it can be for those 48 hours. If you want to do it later, by all means, focus on those 48 hours and make sure it looks snazzy and cool. My final note on day 2 stuff, version control is required. We need that so that you can prove that you actually made the app in the 48 hours for the hackathon. Tip number 8, learn Git. use Git. GitHub is a great place to start. I think GitHub has a bunch of tutorials if you want to. Git is like the system for version control, and GitHub is the website where you put the version control up. Commit and push regularly. Committing is, placing code, preparing to, storing that code. I don't know how else to describe committing now that I think about it. Pushing is just uploading it. And if something goes wrong, you'll want to roll back. That's why I say commit and push regularly. Tip 8.5. Try to keep things clean in terms of commits and branches, but understand that hackathons are stressful, free-for-all, and usual programming etiquette will probably go out the window in pursuit of speed. So as an example of this was our branch diagram by the end of day 3. I still don't know which one is the one that we actually used for the demo. I think it's master-split, but I can't remember. Or it might be Kenton one of those. It's not master. So it should be master. Wait, is it master? No, it's not master. I can't remember. Day 3. So day 3, your main aims are 2 things. You want to finish up programming, which brings me to my 9th tip. Test your app. Test it. A demo going wrong in the middle of presentations is slightly embarrassing, as you will soon see. And the final thing is ideally you want to start working on a presentation, but really you should be working on a presentation throughout the hackathon, not just in that brief, half an hour or hour between the end of coding and the start of presentations, because you're not going to be able to do your project justice. You want to take pride in your work. Your presentation is your opportunity to show off the past 48 hours, so make sure you put your heart into it. So which brings me to, the final bit, which is a bit of an encore. So I went yesterday and I went digging and I found the live stream that we presented our hackathon project in from 2019. Without further ado, I hope you enjoy Matt from 2019 presenting Yeet Beat.
Hello everyone, welcome to our products, Yeet Beat. It's a music game for the masses. As you can see, we have a lot of people, so not all 9 of us are going to talk, but 2 of us will talk. All second years and below. You may be wondering what the term Yeet Beat comes from. This is the etymology. I don't know what the second word is, but I know Yeet. So Manav's going to explain what our product actually is.
Okay, so we made a game that takes the YouTuber's Spotify singles and lets you and your friends guess the song from which our short snippets. But most importantly, most of all, we're making the world a better place.
Alright, so you may be wondering, how did we make this application? What's our stack? So these are the 6 main tools we used. First 3, obviously, HTML5, CSS, JavaScript. We made this on a web page. Bootstrap was our front-end component library that we used to make user interface design very easy. We could just drop in components when we needed. Heroku was the server system, so we had all of our lobbies and things like that set up on Heroku. And we had Node.js as our backend. This is our package.json. As you can see, there's a lot of packages that we've used here, but most of all, you may notice this one called Cloak. I doubt any of you have heard about this dependency. What is Cloak? You can see this on NPM. Has a bit of a problem though. The person who thought this would be a good idea to use this as our network library. This library has 6 downloads this week. No license, and was last updated 4 years ago. The good thing about it is that we actually doubled the means of downloads after applications. That's good. But yeah, so this was a massive headache. There were a lot of problems, but we thought we'd soldier on, and we got them mostly worked out. Let's find out. So let's do a demonstration.
This is where everything goes horribly wrong.
This is Yeet Beat. We've got fancy little notes, musical notes in the background, and this interface, I don't know if you can tell, but it's white. So let's join this game. Input a name, Matt, and this is our code 525040.
You see that? It says Matt's random number, because I hadn't tested it properly, or something had gone wrong in the back end, so I just put Matt's random number, because that was our fallback. So I have to type it again.
There we go. Okay. So this is our game. Let's start it. Will you? So, it's going to play song. Okay, what is it? I think it is. Yeah. It's I'm Not Afraid by Eminem, I think. So I'm going to type that in, and I'm going to press that, and it's going to click finish round. And okay, so I got that correct, so it increased my points. Hi Mum got it correct a lot faster. So
Someone joined called Hi Mum. We didn't do any
another
filtering
song.
of the usernames. And then this is where it went wrong. I can't remember which one it was. Just to give some context, our app kind of pulled videos from YouTube for our music, mostly. The issue was that sometimes, if you've ever tried to watch a music video or something on YouTube, it always has like a minute of dead air or like some like stupid intro that the artist will put in to like make it look cinematic or whatever. So that happened for us. Well, this one just broke, but I think another time it just played like.
We played one song. So.
Okay,
Let's just go with that. It works 100% of the time, based on our one attempt. So, this is our team.
Oh yeah, and Mara's made pixel art for all of us. It's really nice.
Yeah, that's our project. If you want, you can actually.
And that doesn't work anymore.
Play it for yourself at eatbeat.fun. Costs us $2.50 for that domain. And you can view our source code at GitHub repository. Thanks so much. Any questions?
Okay, I think it cuts off there. Oh my, yeah, okay. Yeah, so that's what your presentation may or may not be like. But yeah, my final tip number 11, enjoy it, have fun, make friends, make the most of your time in the UQ Computing Society or UQCS community. And yeah, that's about it. And this is us. So yeah, thanks all. And yeah, if you have any questions on YouTube or anything, may not. But yeah, that's all from me. And I'll pass it over to Nguyen for the second talk. What year were you guys when you did that? Second year. Okay. We all got second years, so that we could get the newcomer prize.
Momo would be in first year.
Oh yeah, second or lower.
I don't like what's happening.
So like technical difficulties on my end, I'd say. Harder. Maybe.
Oh yeah.
No.
So alright.
Yeah.
It should go. So yeah, hello to everyone who's watching. I'm Nguyen. I'll be presenting my project from the UQCS Hackathon back in 2020. It was so for a bit of context. Like I came into Hackathon with different motivation, but the main thing I wanted to is just to try some kind of new languages and framework, because back then I frankly didn't know JavaScript and whatnot, so I literally cannot write any application. I only kind of knew Python and C++. So I wanted to have the hackathon as just an occasion for me to just try to write a complete application. So yeah, so that's the motivation, and yeah, and have fun is just kind of a side motivation, because I went to hackathon with only one of my friends, and because we only have 2 people, I knew for sure that we were not gonna have any kind of prize, because we were simply just outnumbered. So yeah, and then there's our application. So we were trying to have some kind of fun way to use an automatic speech, text-to-speech application. When we were researching for the technology stack, we found some different technology stack it was possible like in JavaScript and whatnot. But then because like we want to have fun and we just want to try some new things, so we just decided to like go with C Sharp, and we write a .NET application, like literally because like none of us know C Sharp, so it would be like a nice occasion to just like try a new language and see what's going on there. So there will be like the concept of the polyrhythm, which just means that like we have two rhythms with like different like bit length mixed together, and the resulting bit like from the mixing of the two rhythms will be a little bit more chaotic, but at the core of that it will still be a bit, and it will still like be suitable for some kind of song. It's on border like that. So let's say we have like a triplet over duplet. We'll have like a repeating like six bit, where like the second and like the fifth bit is like silent. So we have like 1 1 2 3 1 1 2 3 1, something like that. So it will still make a rhythm, but at like the first glance, it doesn't look like that. So that's what we're trying to do. It's like we want to try to make like a text-to-speech application that talks similar to like some kind of polyrhythm. So about the stack, we will just try C Sharp, and we want to try to make that as simple as possible. So we will literally only use that speech SDK as an additional dependency for our application. And it's also like an advice for you all, like to just like keep it simple, because we were like trying to learn a new language, so we can't be bothered to like learn like 5 new different libraries at once and how to like integrate them. And also just don't like try to like reinvent the wheel, because there are like APIs and SDK, and because like this is not an exam where we have to like invent something like really original. The important thing is our idea, and how we achieve that is not a problem. So yeah, that's the tool part. And for the features, because we all have like 2 people and like 48 hours, so we only have like the basic feature of like getting the text-to-speech application to model the polyrhythm. So the project is still hosted there, and this will be like a short like 12-second demo of what's going on here. Sounds not working again. Yeah. How I do that?
Just get down to the bottom, and then
Not sure how well this will
Yeah.
be picked up, but this will be better than nothing.
Yeah.
And some full volume.
It should be now.
Oh. Let's try again. If you...
Yep. Sorry for channel difficulty. Yeah. So like that's the demo. I'm not sure if you guys can like catch all of that, but you can see like it can catch like different like real value there, and because of like the library we was using, it kind of occasionally just don't recognize the word and like just split the word into like letters, which is like what was happening there. And it's just a kind of a tip, because like it's hackathon, we have a lot of time and for us like a lot of manpower. So sometimes we were just deciding on like a good enough implementation. So So yeah, we were just like accepting the mistake of like that or like the word splitting up the word splitting function, and we just like use that for the demo. So yep, so there will be like some kind of reflection on like the process that I my friend has like come through. Some of those like might or might not be what we have done, but yeah. So like the most important thing like before the hackathon is just like to get an idea and an idea. Sometimes we can just like get that from like there's like a public hackathon idea sheet like last time I was in. So you can just take ideas from that or make your own. But some more important thing is that like before we head into the project, we want to like just like get the project scope done. So just like Matthew's whiteboard goes, we want to like restrict the project into like some kind of core important ideas that we want to work on. Prioritize like what's important and what's not, so we don't like just like overwork ourselves in the project hours that we're allowed. We can also like discuss like the time commitment with the team. So like it's a team like full. It's a team like fine with you like just go home like at 6 p.m. on Saturday evening. It's a team like fine with you like just go home like right after brainstorming and things like that. Or like can you like make it on Sunday or not? So yep, it's best to like just discuss that with the team and might as well and might well think about like do you settle for prizes or like do you just want to like go and have fun. For our team, like all those 3 points were pretty were finished like pretty quickly. So we just got to like set up like the required software development kit, like the speech SDK and like the C# compiler and yep and IDEs, just the necessary things. So yep, we were, as I remember, like we were just finishing at like 8 p.m. and we just like don't want to like go further and we just like go home for the day. So yep, no overtime commitment and whatnot. And we did play some game like after that though. So yep. Also like but like on Saturday, on day 2 on Saturday, there wasn't anything like really special. We were just like programming and enjoying the food and whatnot. We were also like finished like at 8. At 8 like that day, at 8 like that day as well. And we and we just like take it easy. We got some work at like 6 p.m. At 6 p.m. on Saturday, but we just decided to say we just work it out on Sunday and we go to play some league game together. It turned out like it's our work. It's not like from the SDK, but still we don't want to like spend our time debugging on like a Saturday night. So we just go and play them. On Sunday we got to like finish like 2 hours before the deadline. Because like we were really aiming for prizes. Like we don't like really polish the UI, and if you have like any tried with like with something like Qt designer or like the Visual Studio designer, it was like a nightmare to use because like there were like too many buttons and whatnot. So but still I think like it's still important for us to get some kind of presentation, just show up what the past like 48 hours look like. And also like we should have to have like the version control system like ready to be viewed, like the release window and readme and whatnot. And what And what I was doing is to like upload a video like demonstrating the project. So like this 12-second video was recorded like after the presentation because I wasn't expecting the desktop audio to not work in the presentation. So yeah, it's best to like upload the video demonstrating the project because in the extreme case that the application like 1% of the time works 100% of the time, and you manage to record that, it will be way better than a live demonstration goes wrong. It's the way wrong for me though. So take that away. And like that's pretty much like on the tip for the hackathon. My viewpoint was more like of a casual of a casual person. Like we just go to have fun, try new things, and enjoy the food. I really like the sandwich on the back then like on Saturday lunch, if I recall correctly. So like that's my part for the talk. And now we go. And now I'll refer to branding.
Yeah. No? Come on. You can do this. There you go. Just give me a second. Cool. Oopsie. Hello, everyone. So I'm here to talk about a project I did a few years ago. So this was at the 2019 Code Network Winter Hackathon. So not actually a UQCS Hackathon. And the project was called Robobros. And so I want to talk about what I did, how I did it, and vaguely some of the few things I learned. So a bit about me. Oh, no? Doing the same thing? All right. So I'm a mechatronics major. And I'm interested in a lot of fields. So most of them are like theory fields, right? They're maths and physics type stuff. And sometimes they're implemented in hardware, sometimes in software. But you know, I'm not exactly a software person. My last hackathon project was actually hardware. But you know, I love hackathon. Like I really love them. I love the free food. I love the environment. I love the free food. I love the camaraderie. Mostly, I just love the free food. So the times that I come to a hackathon and I'm not just there for the free food, I'm usually in it to win it. And what that means is I want to win a prize, any prize, doesn't matter what prize. So sometimes that means I just rock up with some of my friends and we think of something really cool on the spot. Sometimes that means we come up with something impressive beforehand and we sort of need to plan this sort of stuff out. So I've made pretty much everything. I've made web applications, I've made hardware, I've made machine learning stuff, sort of everything really. This particular project was Robobros, and the idea of Robobros it's the most accurate simulation of Bob Ross on the planet. And now it's essentially what it is. It's 5 neural networks working in harmony in order to achieve this very particular objective, such that if you give this particular application some sort of image, so maybe some sort of landscape image or maybe a picture of your cat or something, one, it repaints that image in Bob Ross's painting style. 2, it describes what's happening in that image. So if it's a cat lying on a table, the network will say, this is a cat lying on a table. Step 3, it pre-processes some of that text. So if it tells you that it's a cat lying on a table, it'll add stuff like, hello everyone, this is Bob Ross, and welcome to Joy of Painting, blah, blah. And then at the end, it's like, today we're painting a cat lying on a table. And fourthly, it uses a few different neural networks combined together in order to make artificially generated Bob Ross voice saying the text I just generated. So that's a lot of stuff. And it took 5 neural networks to get it working. That's 5 more neural networks than Bob Ross itself had. So I don't actually have the original PowerPoint slides anymore. They're on my old laptop. So what I've done is I've taken the Facebook live stream from 2019 and I've screenshot it for you guys to see in beautiful JPEG quality. But essentially, as you can see, you have this cat that you pass as an input, and you've got essentially three different modules. One of them is a style transfer module. The style transfer module essentially repaints that image in Bob Ross painting style. In this particular case, it takes as input also one of Bob Ross's old paintings. Along with that, there's another module for image captioning. So it takes that picture and describes what's happening in there. In this case, it's actually not on a table, but close enough. Machine learning. It's a science. It's not science. And it takes that, pre-processes it, and sends it to the third module, which has a few more neural networks, and it essentially makes synthetic watch out of it. So here's some examples. This is the same cat that you saw. You can see that it got a fair bit right. It got a lot of the painting stroke type visual stuff right. But Bob Ross wasn't much of a cat painter. He was a landscape painter. So here's a landscape, and actually works really well. Like you can see, it made the water. It got a really nice water paint type texture on there. The trees look beautiful. The clouds look beautiful. Maybe there's a bit of artifacting going on in the middle, but pretty decent. Here's a landscape that doesn't work as well, but still pretty decent. So you can see that the trees are pretty good. There's a bit too much contrast on the borders of the mountains, but it's pretty good, not bad. So how did I do this? Well, I wanted to do some machine learning, and I actually came up with this idea before I went to the hackathon. But I did not plan this out at all. I knew what I wanted to work on. Well, okay, that's not totally true. I did sort of plan it out, but I didn't have my shit together at the time. So I rocked up to the hackathon. I hadn't written any code beforehand. I had no friends with me, like I often do. And usually at the start of a hackathon, there's a phase where if you don't have enough people for your team and you've got some really cool idea, you can pitch it at the start, on a Friday, and then people can join you at the end. So I pitched my idea, and 5 people came up to me, and none of them knew machine learning. So it's actually quite a big problem with me, right? I'm interested in niche fields, usually fields that are heavy in theory and take a lot of specialization. And there's not a lot of people that are specialized in stuff, so that's my first mistake. So either people know machine learning, which is pretty rare, they don't know machine learning, which is much more common, or they sort of vaguely heard of machine learning, they've seen some tutorials, and they watched some YouTube videos, but it's not enough to actually help me. So what ended up happening was, out of the people that approached me, I was joined by one person who matched this third category, where they vaguely learned bits of machine learning from a crappy course, but they weren't enough to help me. So in the end, what ended up happening was I basically did the entire hackathon myself. So not a very fun time. So I made a team with this random person. They didn't end up contributing, but the good thing I had done was I actually, before I came into the hackathon, I knew it was going to be hard. Combining 5 neural networks together, especially doing machine learning in general, is quite hard. So I had planned some of it before. I'd done a lot of looking up previous papers on stuff, and I'd look for open source implementations and stuff. And my entire thing was a mess. So I found a bunch of neural networks. The code base itself used multiple. I think I wrote 2 down there. I'm not totally sure there was 2. I'm pretty sure there was 3. Separate deep learning frameworks, TensorFlow, PyTorch, and I'm pretty sure there was Theano in there too. I had to rewrite an entire code base from Python 2 into Python 3, which is quite annoying for machine learning code bases. So of the good decisions I made was that before I came into the hackathon, I know machine learning is really hard to do on a hackathon. So machine learning is hard for a few things. One of the reasons is that you need data to do it. So you need a lot of time to collect that data. 2, you need to train a machine learning model, which can take time, especially for a deep neural network. It can take hours, which is time you don't usually have at a hackathon. And 3, even if you have the hours to train a machine learning model, there's no guarantee that at the end of it you'll have a working model. Training is a very tricky, finicky process, and so there's no guarantee on that. Thankfully, I decided on this earlier, and I done a bunch of research into it. And I'll explain how node training machine learning works in a second and how it will apply to my scenario. And I'm actually glad that I stuck to my own project. There were a lot of other cool projects there, maybe not as cool as mine, but they're pretty good. But I came out at the end. I came out with something I was pretty happy with and proud of. So I'm happy about that. So I was talking about node training machine learning. I want to talk about how that's possible. So there's a few different options. So some of these options are something like, so the image captioning network that I had before, that image captioning network does not need to really be trained for every single idea. Essentially, you can train it on a bunch of images, and you can take a pre-trained model of the internet, and it'll just describe whatever's happening in an image, right? So that's pretty straightforward. There's other ways of doing pre-training, or like having some sort of existing machine learning model that doesn't need to be trained, but that's specific to you. So that neural style transfer model, the one that repainted that Bob Ross image. Now that one is sort of different. It's sort of like, it sort of keeps transforming the current image that you have into the high-level features, the painting features of another image. Now there you sort of like, there's sort of a trade-off there in that particular case. Essentially, by leaving off training time, you're essentially you take more time for inference. So actually taking a high resolution image and converting it to painting style, that took like 9 minutes per image. That's why I have them as pictures instead of a live process. On the other hand, this one's actually quite nice. I took 6 seconds of Bob Ross talking, and there was a really new paper, really nice new paper out. And in this particular paper, you could provide it. They've pre-trained this network on a bunch of different voices, and what they realized is you don't actually need to have a person say every single syllable of every single language to be able to say generic things. You just need to understand the basic things that make up their voice and recreate that, and just train on a bunch of different voices. If you can understand the basic features of a voice, maybe it's hoarse, maybe it's a very high pitched, something like that, you can make a very generic network for that. So essentially, I gave it 6 seconds only of voice, and it generated a beautiful Bob Ross voice. I'm not going to show it here because I don't have the original audio. If you want to really look at the sound, I have it on the original live stream if you can ask me for it. But yeah, so that was really cool. I'm glad I made those decisions. Decisions I regret not making is I regret not having a second person to take care of machine learning with me. That was 5 neural network. That's a lot of effort. I wish I'd had at least a second person to work on maybe the image part while I was working on the audio part, for example. It takes a lot of effort to do hackathons on your own. Secondly, I did not win a prize for this hackathon. I won prizes for other hackathons, but not this one. So I regret not having a person that at least knew how to make my thing look pretty, right? As Matt said, if your thing isn't pretty, people don't want to look at it. That's a big problem for a hackathon. You only have 3 minutes to show people. So I wish there was someone, essentially the way I served mine was like a very ugly upload button, and then when you click on it, you upload the image, it just dumps you right into the thing. I wish there was a cleaner web GUI or at least a traditional desktop GUI. This is the end of my talk. I hope you can take some of the lessons that I learned on planning complex projects that take a lot of time for hackathons. If anyone has any questions. No? Cool. Cool, bang on. Yeah, that's it for me.
All right, thank you everyone who talked. We have new mugs to give, and if anyone wants to give a new talk and get a new mug, get in touch with us. Pizza is over at GP South, so you can make your way over. And don't forget to get your hackathon tickets, hackathon.uqcs.org. Hackathon is next weekend, so we hope you're there. And yeah, cool. Thanks everybody.